So Craig, Alex is going to speak first on the matter, and you'll be able to ask any questions along the way to fully understand the information that's been presented to you.
Understood. Thanks, Madam Tribunal Judge. Appreciate your time here today. I appreciate everyone. Craig as well for making your time to be here today. So I guess it's my job and my opportunity now to present you the facts of the case, particularly because I'm looking after the landlord and owner of this property, and we want to make sure this is a fair and reasonable tribunal so that everyone comes out of this with what they want. But obviously, we've only taken it to this step. We would love to have solved this before the tribunal, but unfortunately we couldn't, so it's come to this. This is pertaining to the address at 26 Lindsay Street in Burwood, which has a rent of $440 per month, due on the first day of the month every month. The bond that Mr. Watson paid was $1,760. Now, since the moment that Mr. Watson has moved into this apartment, he's been late on his rental payment. In fact, I've got evidence here which I'll provide to the tribunal, which will show you, because we've got our slips and our trust accounting receipts, that will show that Mr. Watson has been late on every occasion that the rent is meant to be paid. Not once has he paid on the actual first date. Now, there's obviously, you're allowed to give a little bit of leniency, which we've done from time to time when it comes to the rent, but it's been a long time now, 10 months of late rent, which I've had to tell our landlord. I'm sure Mr. Watson understands, and he's got his own personal situations, which we are aware of, but we've also got a landlord who has their own personal situation as well, and obviously the money matters to everyone. So when it came to this month's rent, which was due on the 1st of April, Madam Tribunal, he was late again, and by the 16th of April, when we had received zero money, zero payment, I was forced to serve a notice to Mr. Watson to vacate the premises. This was at the behest of my landlord, who asked me to do this, and it was all fair and reasonable and within the law. Craig then emailed me, as you'll see in the evidence that I'm going to put forward to the tribunal. I showed you before we came into the tribunal. He emailed us on the 21st of April and told us that he was going to vacate on the 4th of May. At which time he also stated that he would pay the outstanding rent that was owed, because obviously we could hold some of that off his bond. As you know, today is the 10th of May, so that's another 6 days past the date that he said he was going to leave, and Craig has neither, or Mr. Watson I should say, has not left the premises nor paid any of the outstanding rent. So from where we stand at your home and in terms of what we would like to see happen, we're pretty unhappy with the situation as it stands, and we are looking for full compensation of not only the rent that he's owed, a full vacation, and then also no return of the bond. And that's what I'd like to put forward to you.
Great. Mr. Watson, do you have any questions?
No, but I would like to just make a few comments if you don't mind, Judge. So obviously, recently my work hours have been cut back, which has been frustrating. I have certainly tried my best to pay the rent on time, but can appreciate that I'm often late with the payments. There's been a lot of stress at work, which is making it difficult to concentrate on day-to-day activities as well, such as paying bills and rent included in that. And also part of the reason why I haven't vacated the property yet, there's a lot to organise logistically. I'm by myself, and it's just been getting a bit too much lately, so that's part of the reason. My work situation is now improved. I'll be getting some longer hours, which is good. I talked to the boss about some of the stresses at work, and they've agreed to make some changes as well to internal processes, which I believe should help. So, I hope that's okay.
Can I speak?
Of course.
So whilst I appreciate your personal situation, Mr. Watson, I really do, and as a property manager, it's very hard because you come across everyone is in their own personal situation, and you want to make sure that everyone is looked after. Obviously, my primary responsibility is to my landlord, and whilst I understand your living and work situation is tough, the evidence would suggest that you're not willing to pay rent on time, and I can't see why that we should give you another opportunity to do this. Whilst I'm more than happy not to. I don't need to write you a negative review as a renter, and I'm happy for you to go off and find another property. But I think in this case, it's probably best that you do vacate the premises, and we would really look for the full payment of the compensation. I don't know what you are wanting out of today's tribunal.
Yeah.
But that's what we'd be looking for. And I've presented the evidence to the tribunal, as you've seen, and you've got copies of that in front of you, of the emails and the trust account and receipts. So, Mr. Watson, what is it you want out of today?
May I speak? No, I appreciate that and completely understand where you're coming from. From my point of view, I would like another 2 months in the property just to get myself in order and give me enough time to get some things organised so I can vacate the property. So if I can be granted another 2 months, it would be very much appreciated.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to speak to my landlord and talk about this, but I don't think we can grant you 2 months until you've paid everything that is due.
Yeah.
You're overdue with rent. You are, there's quite a bit of money on the table.
Yeah.
And you understand, well, we're holding your bond, which we can take the money out of if we want to.
Yeah.
But I'd need to speak to your landlord, and we can make that decision. So I don't want to make that call now, but I certainly believe it's in the hands of the tribunal. If you look at the facts, I think it would be fair to say that we can't allow Mr. Watson to take another 2 months without paying that outstanding money.
I think that sounds fair and reasonable if you believe that that is in the best interest of yourself, the landlord and the tenant. And I think maybe in private discussion there can be other options for Mr. Watson to maybe apply to another property again that might be better suited to him and his lifestyle. But if everyone is able to mutually agree on that, I think we can agree on that.
Yes, I'm happy with that.
All right, I'm happy with that as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Thank you very much, Tribunal, for listening to us today, and we really appreciate your ruling.
Thank you.